Hi there, and welcome to session 4 of SOCF111. This is section 1 of session 4, and today we're going to look at the self as practitioner and developing and enhancing our self-esteem. I'm Dr. Michelle Mars, and I am the Senior Lecturer for Social Science on the Sydney campus. So let's start with a quotation. The best and most wonderful, beautiful things in the world can't be seen or touched. They must be felt in the heart. And that's a quote from Helen Keller. And I think that refers directly to self-esteem, doesn't it? How we feel about ourselves and our hearts. So today, the aim of today's session is to explore the concept of self-esteem, how to enhance self-esteem, and the importance of self-esteem in clinical practice. So today we're going to look at developing and enhancing our self-esteem and strategies to do that. At the end of the session, we want you to be able to define very clearly what self-esteem is and also to discuss strategies to improve your self-esteem. This involves examining personal strengths and qualities, and we'll be doing a little bit of this over the course of today's lecture. And we also want to talk about formulating strategies for maintaining self-esteem in the workplace, particularly when you work in a one-on-one kind of counselling or encouraging relationship with someone. How do you manage your own work esteem in the workplace? And also we'd like you at the end of today to understand the nature of self-compassion and its role in personal growth. So what's self-esteem? Self-esteem is about the way that you feel about yourself. It's about how much you like yourself, how valuable a person you think you are, and also how competent you think you are, how good you think, how well you think you can do things. And your answers reflect your self-esteem and the value that you place on yourself as a person. So what is self-esteem? It's a belief in your personal rights, and it's about qualities and strengths. So qualities are beliefs and thoughts about yourself, and values and behaviour consistent with values, and the idea that we are valued by others. When we're talking about strengths, we're talking about skills, competencies, achievements, and the power to influence our own life and make our own decisions in life. So self-esteem. Our behaviour may be a reflection of our self-esteem, whether you're assertive or shy, whether you approach situations with confidence or with caution. So our self-esteem can be either global in nature, like I believe that I'm a good person, or it can be specific and focused. I am very good at tennis. Now, all of us, and in general, all of us, for everybody, self-esteem is made up of some ideas about ourselves which are global, some beliefs we have about ourselves which are global, but some also that are specific and focused, and particularly when we have special or particular skills in one area. Now I'd like you to take a look at handout 4.1. It's called the invitation. The first page is a series of statements like, it doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. So there's a whole series of statements on the page. Another example is, I want to know if you can be with me, if you can be with joy, mine and your own. If you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of the fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be really realistic, or to remember the limitations of being human. And another one, it doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside. When all else falls away, I want to know if you can be alone with yourself. So there's a series of inspirational statements for you. And then we move on in the second page of activity 4.1 to self-concept and self-esteem, and the idea that self-concept is made up of self-image and self-esteem. So self-concept is the totality of thoughts and feelings about myself, and self-image is how I perceive or see myself. So if you could just take a look at that. Facets of self-image include physical self, cognitive self, moral self, and family self. And there's another page there that you need to take a look at. And then we move on to the exercise in that goes with this handout, which is a self-concept and self-esteem workout. So what we want you to do is consider your physical self, your cognitive self, your family self, and your social self. And we want you to rate your self-esteem from low at 1 to high at the other end, according to all those different parts of yourself. The next thing after you do that is you need to write a statement about each of those parts of the self: cognitive, moral, family, social, and physical. And what do you tell yourself about those aspects of yourself? The next one is what do you think is stopping you from being 10 in any of those aspects of yourself, and what limits you, and what seems possible to you when you look at those statements about limitations. The next question is, how would you know if you were 10 in any of those aspects of yourself, and what would you see yourself doing differently? And of course this gives you a list of things to work out. And then at the end of it, it's like, if you could just choose one thing out of everything you've brought up for yourself today to work on, what would you like to change in your self-image? So, complete the questions on page 3 and reflect on the responses you give. Thank you.